Alright, so thank y'all for coming to the anime panel.
Yes, it is.
I've got a couple questions for them, and we're going to open up the floor to you guys because I know that you all have questions as well. So, to start off, if you weren't doing VA, what do you think you'd be doing?
Hi, I'm Kyle, by the way. I voice Older Gohan in the narrator in Dragon Ball Z. Is this Dragon Ball Z themed or just VO?
Anime.
Anime? Okay. So that's who I am in Dragon Ball, but I'm also in Akiba in Naruto, Aizen in Bleach. Escanor in Seven Deadly Sins, First World Problem. I'm too many dudes. Kakyoin in Stardust Crusaders, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and many others. But yeah, so what would I be doing if I were a voice actor? I'm a big movie fan, so I might want to get into sound design or do Foley work. You know those guys that sit in front of microphones and do the sound effects of people walking, or especially like Star Wars stuff. Sitting, you know, like you're watching a zombie show. Ben Burg, amazing. And like you're watching a zombie show and a zombie tears someone's head off. It's just like you take a head of lettuce. And that just fascinates me. Yeah. But yeah, I love playing the drums as a hobby. I live in an apartment complex, so I play electronic drums with headphones on, so I'm not bugging the neighbors. So I think it'd be fun to be in, but I don't have the discipline for that. Hard to live unless you're Taylor Swift. Or Metallica.
Yeah.
Ray, who are you, and who do we know you from?
Oh man, shoot. I'm a little known fella from the. I'm Ray Hurd. I have credits with Dragon Ball as well. Top of the Pride Troopers, or Topo, whichever you prefer, or Topo. I've done all three. Also, Dagan, the drunk guy that gets nearly choked to death by Broly in the Dragon Ball Super movie. I choked for 30 seconds. It doesn't seem very long, but you try. And that was cool. Also, I'm it's kind of maybe a little newer character for a lot of people. Last year I did a character which was the King of Beasts and the Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts, which is basically the animated Beauty and the Beast. And so I actually did it because there's a microphone. So I couldn't do it where I was, but it's way down here. So yeah, it's really, really dope. So anyway, that's another cool one, which I'm most proud of, by the way, that voice. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I'm like you.
First World Problem.
So yeah. Kizaru, Admiral Kizaru of One Piece is I, and I am he. Also, Bamba and Babamba, two little guys from One Piece, and Kumasi, the zombie teddy bear, Empress Corona. Also that one. So a bunch of other stuff. I'm also the Firebox in Borderlands 3. I play a few spikes. You recognize. So every time you kill those, you kill a piece of meat.
Hey, why not that?
Let's continue your killing. But that's a lot of my portfolio, and I'm trying to keep it clear.
If you weren't a voice actor, what would you be doing?
Oh, good question. Yeah, so, and I've done a lot of jobs in real life anyway. Outside of this is.
I think you're probably a jockey, given your size.
I was a. Yeah, right. Well, the funny thing about that is I worked in radio, so I was a jockey at one time. Yeah,
Me too. I was a DJ before I was a voice actor.
Yeah, you know, so and then you find out that stuff really doesn't do a whole lot of good in voice acting because you're a voice actor. So then the first thing you have to do is learn how to drop the announcer. Instead of coming up to the microphone and being this way and talking that way. So yeah, maybe radio or some form of potentially sales. So I always like working with people. So that was good too. And, so yeah, I did a lot of stuff. Actually, I was a minister for 16 years also. So yeah, I did a lot of different things. So that was really good. And in a lot of ways that made me a minister. So yeah. Cool.
Hi, I'm Phil Parsons. In Dragon Ball, I was the voice of the Doom-Sane Warrior Nappa. As well as actually a very small part in Dragon Ball was Supreme Pie Commander, who was, I guess, ingested by booze when he was a jerk. So I don't get paid whenever he moves.
Really?
They don't count that. The Attack on Titan fans.
Yes.
Was Kenny Ackerman, Levi's deranged well, who had his reasons, I still maintain.
Yeah.
Also, Fire Force, which is finally coming back for season 3 next year. I was, yes.
We got fun for that.
Yep. We're all captains up here. I was Captain Leonard Burns in that. I like these guys. I've been doing it a while, so I've got a lot of credits. More recent stuff. I did play a small part in that Sacrificial Princess. I was one of the.
Oh yeah, you sure were. You
I was
king.
the bigoted king.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I got on his case.
Yeah.
He
squared me away. And there's a anime that has 1 season on Crunchyroll, and season 2 is coming, I think, this year, called Hell's Paradise, which is the manga is part of the Dark Trio with Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen. Anyway, it's a really cool show. And my guy, Kentetsu Saks, is pretty cool. Guy cuts off his hand, just keeps going, like Jason Ventura in Predator. You know, he ain't got time to bleed.
That's right.
So lots of stuff. I was in Borderlands as well, and some video games and stuff, etc. So probably if I wasn't voice acting, I would just wither and die because it's so much fun. But I was already an actor. That's how I got into it. Funimation was a small studio, and they were recruiting kind of local stage talent back in the day, and I was doing a lot of small-time live stuff. I did a lot of First Nation gigs for parties and events. I did merch for dinner shows. I still do that stuff. So probably just. I'd be the same, but making less money.
Charlie Campbell here. Go back far enough, I was the first audio engineer for Evangelion back in '95. Worked my way up through producing, directing, and then started playing more parts. Probably the oldest part you may have heard of was the Old Man Owl from Sonic the Hedgehog, the motion picture. Hello, Sonic! Guy, you know. But we had a great outtake with him. You could save outtakes on the computer, just spit it out to VHS and save it. This one was really funny. Sonic and Tails and all looking at the little airplane. Owl's down on the ground, and he says, "Hello, Sonic, how you doing?" And then Sonic says, "I look at that." But then, more characters. Currently, Gran Torino from My Hero, Fujitora, Incarne, and Borges, and then 2 other guys in One Piece, which is much minimal. I had a guy that I played that was screaming his head off in Borderlands, so I think he lived, but my voice didn't live for a few years. And just too many characters to name, really. Some live action of Ultraman, Shin Godzilla voices, and just keep carrying on. You don't need to do a silly voice. Keep going. If I couldn't do voices, I mean, I do voices as a second job these days. My full-time job is audiovisual designer for for NFL stadiums around the country and colleges. And we design it. We don't have to buy it. We don't have to install it. But after it's all built, then we go make sure it all works. So right now I'm working on the Buffalo Bills Stadium. A few other bits and pieces here and there. But that's kind of fun. Not as much fun as doing voices, but occasionally I'll do a voice for that. People are
Do they, when you go work on Buffalo Bills Stadium, summer work?
Oh no, we've been working on that now for a few years. I do it all on computer.
Yeah, but I mean Buffalo in the winter.
Oh yeah, I mean they're all doing the construction. We don't do any of that. We just work for the architect as far as design. And we might have to go tour a place to see if they're putting it right, different times a year.
I'm just saying, I just wouldn't want to work there.
No,
this one I'm
no, me neither.
Charlie's got a cool job
We have our
outside.
own little panel here.
So yeah. That's right. You start with
How do you think voiceover changed since you started? When you first started doing this, how has it changed to where it is now?
Start listening this time.
Yeah, I mean the technology's gotten better with the computers and effects and everything. Back when I started, that was called audio vision, which was strictly recording. There weren't any effects. You had to do all that post-production. So you couldn't really always hear what you were doing, how it was going to sound. Although I did a lot of monster voices, so I'm a guitar player. So I ran a mic through all these guitar processors and made the coolest sounding monsters. They said, yeah, just print it, because even if it didn't need monsters in the show, like you had them, but typically the Japanese soundtrack is really like, that's it? That's the monster sound? No, the monster sound. But, I mean, the technology's changed. As far as the acting and stuff, I mean, I think it's just like any acting job. You have good actors from far back as any day. You know, just on who's done the casting and if they're right for the part and everything. It's kind of nonsense. It's like trust that. There's more fans, so it's more visible. You know, more thought about it. I always say too, like for instance, My Hero is a really good show. If someone's not into anime, because it's superheroes, everybody's like, okay, it's a superhero show. They can identify with that. So it's kind of a good agency for that kind of show.
Yeah, it helps if it's a rip-off of something.
Yeah,
like X-Men.
relatable.
Yeah. I just started voicing a show that's on Crunchyroll. We're putting up the dubs now called Astoria Sword and Magic.
Yeah.
Basically Harry Potter ripoff, and I'm the snake, so I'm having fun with that, you know. Yeah, I agree with Charlie. I mean, I've mostly done anime dubbing, so the biggest change is technology. When I started doing it, we were still on videotape. And Funimation and Crunchyroll, they're really big on matching the dialogue to those flaps as closely as possible. So, which I think the viewer probably takes for granted, but I've been in booths for an hour on one line, just right. And they used to be much more on the actor. Now, I throw it out there on the ballpark because I know the engineer, use Pro Tools and stretch and squish and manipulate the line to make it fit. And I'd say because now it's a big studio with so many properties going, simultaneously, we got to get them up quickly. It's just a faster cycle, everything's faster. You know, when I first started doing them, we were dubbing like shows that had been completed in Japan years before. So it was very different. The director would tell you when you got cast, here's everything your character will be doing. You know, we're going to do like 4 episodes today, you know, maybe 3 next week or something. Yeah, now they don't know any more than you do what's going to happen. Sometimes it's really heartbreaking because I cast you in this part because I think this guy's going to be a really good bad guy. It turns out he gets killed in the second episode. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the answer is basically the same. It has, it's simul-dub. I don't know if you said that, but it's simul-dub now. So when I got started, it was like, I'm sure a lot of you guys might be aware, you either got all the episodes at once, or you would do it sparsely, like spread out. Like I started, my second character was Admiral for One Piece, so because it was a continuing arc, I would do so much of the character and then wouldn't see it for 9 months to a year. We were that far behind the Japanese, and so they would, once we finally saw it, I forgot about it. You know what I mean? And then you really needed vocal references back then, so it was like, you know, you didn't even know what you did before once you developed the character. So yeah, but everything is much more sped up. Everything happens because of the simulcast. What that means is that the Japanese will come out, and then the very next week ours will come out here in America. So it's like we got to get in there and record it the same week that it aired in Japan, because it's going to be coming out the very next week here in America, you know, in America. So for the rest of the world. So it's very fast paced, and then which is good for us in a sense because it keeps us constantly doing things, and instead of sitting around waiting for the next thing. So yeah, it's really good, and a lot of it I think changed after the pandemic, because the pandemic forced everybody to go towards Zoom and all of these other applications that, especially if you were, I do on-camera work too, so I kind of changed all that answer. I'm probably an on-camera actor, regularly, because that was my main focus. And I had a friend tell me, dude, you already got credits, federal Funimation, so like, this is what you need to focus on. That's what I ended up focusing on. So, yeah, it worked out well for us because we're already in the audio sphere doing stuff where you can, with the technology's advanced enough where you can do this stuff at home. And then with you need the active rig and all that kind of stuff. It makes sense.
Well, I have my recording setup's just in my walk-in closet.
Okay, so yeah. And
some people did upgrades, and then other people, the studio would provide recording rigs and ship them to your house.
Right.
Or pick them up and you're able to record. comes with a microphone and a little amplifier to plug it into.
Right. So yeah, it was it meant we could still work.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of shows like Fire Force when you named off earlier. I'm a Charon in Fire Force. So I did all of that stuff that I did for Fire Force, I did from home. And so, technology's just made it really, really easy for us to do. So
I guess the biggest thing is, Crunchyroll's the number one thing for anime, basically. They're the big guy in town. But they started as the biggest piracy site many years ago. Piracy was crazy, out of control. Studios even went under because they were losing so much money.
Yeah.
And Japan was kind of afraid of the internet, understandably so, because people would just rip and start fan subbing and everything. And the stuff would take years to come out officially. Now, streaming services are a regular part of everybody's, whether it's just simple Netflix to a Crunchyroll subscription and whatnot. And the big players like Disney and Hulu is but yeah. Amazon Prime. I mean, they're all getting the rights to these different titles, so it's actually the best time to be a fan and the cheapest. I know it's expensive, it all adds up, but if you're thinking about the amount of material you have access to in English and Japanese, and the amount of time the window has shrunk in terms of waiting for all that, so it's a way different ballgame.
As a result, you get regular new anime titles weekly.
Yeah.
Versus what we got, back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah. You can keep up with it then. Now it's just like.
It was 3 episodes of VHS and we loved it.
Most would be $40 a piece.
Yeah.
I had to get imports of Dragon Ball Z before it from Japan, so I'm watching it all. Before it was even popular to watching the subtitles, I was doing all of that just to try to catch up because they stopped showing it in America until Tsunami came. Then it's like, the newer generation of Bitcoin was able to watch everything from Tsunami. I'm getting imports trying to. Then it's like it goes from Rock the Dragon to the music,
Yeah, and there's different dubs. Dragon Ball started in Canada, so there's the Canadian English dub, and then it moved to Funimation in Texas, and there's that dub, and
then they simplified it and changed it, redubbed it, and changed it. Yeah, it's went through a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've had guys like millennial age, you were my childhood, man, every day after school. If you're talking about the 90s, I don't have the heart to explain to them. There was a guy named Michael.
Right.
It's like I get known as the narrator from Dragon Ball Z, but I'm like the second or third one.
Right.
On Dragon Ball Z, there's the Canadian one, and there's Dale Kelly, and then there's me, and then there's Doc Morgan on Dragon Ball Z Kai and Super.
Yeah.
Andy Chandler.
But I figure if they're that big a fan, they must have watched Kai, they must have played the video games, they've heard me do the parts.
Yeah.
If you freeze frame real fast, they can see the credits. And then you come on the con scene and you meet different actors. And what I like now is, people will get like a Shenron Funko Pop and just have everybody who worked on it sign it. Say, here's Canadian Vegeta, here's American Vegeta, it's like, that's sweet. That's giving a nod to everybody who worked on it.
That's the downside of the American because
did they totally implode the Dragon Ball Con?
So
it kept on diminishing returns.
He might bring it back one more time, but it's because I think it's more so because of Toriyama.
I know.
Because they ended it right before he died. Of course, nobody could have predicted that, but then he died, and then it was like everybody's pissed off. Like, dude,
Yeah, Kamea-Con we're talking about is an official, unofficial fan-run convention for all things Dragon Ball, which sounds fantastic, but it wasn't officially endorsed by Toei or Crunchyroll, and it started with pretty good attendance, and then every year it was like lower and lower and lower.
I think that was the biggest reason why it imploded. So it was unfortunate, but we were, that's where I first met Kyle. And then quite a few other. He got to watch me almost die from the Gummy Bear Challenge. And I was like, at first I didn't know his name at the time, so I thought you were Ray Chase at the time.
Oh no!
And so he's sitting back there with this, Dr. Evilish kind of look on his face, watching me suffer. from eating this 10 foot the 9 million Schofield gummy bear. Yeah, it was terrible. They broke me into that competition, and they were like, they were looking. They my name's Ray, so they were like, they thought I was the other Ray, and they called me over, and they were like, hey, first out, do you want to watch?
Yeah.
Then, do you want to participate? And it's like, no. And then I am participating, and then I go over and they turn the cameras on me, and it was like.
This was years before Hot Ones.
Yes, years before I was. Yeah, they were like, there he is. He's in the challenge. It's Top from Dragon Ball Super. Everybody turns around and they're hooray! And I'm like, for my people, for my planet. Next thing you know, I'm in. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, let the gummies begin. I'm sorry, we just went on a tangent there. Go ahead.
Oh, that's great. We got to talk about the old VHSs, so that's it. That was what I had.
Yeah.
I know that's what quite a few of us had. Made a little art on the side of it. When you
Yeah.
looked at that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm still tucked away somewhere.
Yeah. We're going to open it up to you guys. If you have questions, it doesn't even have to be related. You just want to ask what their favorite color is. Go for it.
We're wearing them.
All right, I got one. What's your opinion about the usage of artificial intelligence in your industry?
It's evil. No, I mean, like anything, it's a tool, and it needs to be used correctly.
Right.
I can see the technology is amazing in and of itself, but it's the application that becomes a gray area real fast, and that's why there's a strike from the Screen Actors Guild.
Right.
And those on the non-union side are kind of helping spread the word and kind of holding fast. And it's like, even though I'm not in the union, I'm going to stand with you guys because we don't want all these companies to take all the jobs away, which is a very real threat. And AI affects everybody, not just entertainment, not just artists or musicians, not just actors or voice actors, but you could get a spam call from someone who's cloned a relative's or friend's voice and say, hey man, I'm in jail, I need you to bail me out, wire me $500, and you do it, and the scam artist got your money. So you see how this technology can be easily abused.
Very much.
Don't you hate when
Well, actually, I did a text-to-speech thing for a company. And a big well-known company, by the way.
If you could go back.
Yeah. Well, I thought I was thinking it was going to be great because it was a good payday and everything was cool, but not nearly as much as I should have made because after I started hearing the flood of people that I knew contacting me by text, and everything else, and I'm like, hey, is this you? Is this you? And so my voice is on like all these different types of advertisements. I mean, it's on porn advertisements. It's on stuff that you would just hear like for boxing. Like I heard one recently for a old Mike Tyson thing. And somebody did this documentary style thing, but they did it with my voice. Oh yeah, it was crazy, man. But I know where that came from, and so it's starting to fizzle out. But the upside for me is I just turned it around and I'm like, yeah, I did that. So that's how I've been benefiting from it. But yeah, at first it was like
Submit that as a demo, whatever.
right. Yeah, at first it was like because it's definitely me. It was more or less like, but yeah, I got hit really hard with that initially. So it was like that. But yeah.
So, what do you think?
Oh, the world's crazy right now. I'm just looking for any intelligence. Real long.
It really is an organic intelligence.
This matter is going away.
The society implodes.
Yes. Well, yeah, it's great.
I got a question. This is kind of a fun question. You guys have been in animes. You guys get to see all kinds of crazy superpowers and stuff like that. You can pick one for yourself. What would it be? Like, out of all the characters that you play, you can just take their power and keep it for yourself. What would it be?
It has to be one we play.
Hey, I mean, if you pick whatever you want, I'm just
That's probably a better one.
Fair question. Yeah.
Well, I've always liked Galactus. It'd be nice to be massive with a really cool hat and just eat anything you want.
No.
Go get it for you,
Your diet is strict. It's planet's own.
Planet's gluten-free?
Come back to me.
Galactus.
It's a Good
Yeah,
question.
I didn't realize you played. That is crazy.
He just said,
Oh.
who would you want to be?
Oh.
Who's power?
I thought we'd stay within the
That's what I thought we were staying within the limits. Okay. Well, if that's the case,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Be freaking Batman if that were the case, but I think something I've actually done.
Rich and poor.
Right. What's your
Yeah.
superpower? I'm rich.
That's right. Just in the car.
That's right.
I gotta come back to the
I've always liked Magneto. It's always fun. Yeah, he was, the power of magnetism, and then it levels up where, he could sense the metal in your blood, which, you got metals in the body, you know what I'm saying? So he can, magnetize generally everything in the earth's polarity, I always thought that was cool. But Galactus, he kind of beats everything. Silver Surfer wouldn't be any good if I called that.
Oh, the Herald?
Go probably a little older school, like in the anime realm, just instant transmission, teleportation, which of course X-Men can do and all that, Nightcrawler.
Not that good.
Yeah, the ability to not have to take a car anywhere or even fly. It's like, why do they fly? Why don't they just?
Yeah.
I guess that's boring at some point. But think about it. No more waiting on planes, trains, or automobiles. You just instantly show up. And you don't have to think about the logistics of, what if I appear while someone's walking in? Do your molecules fuse together and it becomes like Jeff Goldblum on the fly? It's just really depressing and gross. It's like, think outside of actual physics of it. If you could just magically transmit yourself and it's not a danger to anyone. It's like, hey, I feel like going to Hawaii today. You're there. That'd be
Yeah.
fun.
Well, I played the question you originally asked.
Yes.
The character I've done. Anyone watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
Yes.
Okay, so I did the character of Buccaneer. If you remember, he was maybe on the front right-hand guy.
Yeah.
Most of my characters die in the shows I'm in, and he had the best death I ever did. Remember, it's been a minute since the show, but yeah, he goes out like a boss. Supposedly now he goes out like a bitch. But auto mail of any kind would be kind of cool to have. Like you're doing something around the house, you got a tool ready, no trips to Home Depot. As far as any power, I don't know that I've even seen this in anime. I'm sure some here could, but I would love to be able to just freeze time for very mundane purposes, like you got to be somewhere early in the morning and you couldn't sleep all night. You had like an hour's sleep, you just freeze time, get your 7 or 8 hours more in, and start time back up and you're fully rested. That would be awesome.
I would never start time back again. I just sleep.
Yeah, that's the problem. You age a lot quicker because you're taking breaks from time, but
That's true. Then you come back old. He was like, you've only been gone 20 minutes.
yeah,
It's like after you age 20
How long
years.
you been working here?
That's
Dog years.
Yes.
Well, the movie Click messed me up on that. Stop time. And he's going through time, life in autopilot, ruined his marriage, ruined his stuff. Like, oh no.
Careful what you wish for.
Careful what you wish for. Yes. Yeah, you messed me up. Well, I watched too much of The Boys.
she has a question.
Oh, great. I'm sorry.
Got a cool Batman shirt on
Okay.
too.
So if I'm obviously biased to some of your characters that you voice acted, but what is going to be your favorite one or favorite line of one that you have done?
My favorite's Gran Torino, actually, even though it's pretty recent. And my favorite line is ridiculous too, but when you first see him in the show and you think he's dead, he comes up out of the kitchen and goes, I'm alive. I don't like this guy. I tried one of those fish cookies too.
So, dog, when they made the film after your character, Clint Eastwood movie, I just thought it bore no resemblance at all.
Apparently they were fans of him. I read that somewhere.
That's not.
Yeah.
Well, as far as characters that anybody's actually would know about, definitely Penny from Attack on Titan. He's because that in that one season, I felt like it had a very complete arc, a lot of layers to play and stuff. And it's fun to play bad guys, especially when they're complicated. But my favorite line, the ones I remember, are usually little one-offs. In the show called Mic Drop. Once in one of the other Dragon Ball, I can't remember if it was Super or GT because I get those mixed up, but there was a montage where Goku was going around doing good deeds, rescuing kittens from trees and stuff, And at one point he like foils a bank robbery. Yeah, and so I was the cop, that cop who's getting the suspects, and I got to say, "Hey, thanks for the assist there, Goku." That was just a lot of fun.
They're like a Dan Aykroyd.
It was kind of the Dan Aykroyd, Chicago, kind of.
In here.
Yeah, both. I forget the question. Is that a favorite what?
What's your favorite character that you've done or a favorite line that you've done?
Okay. I'm thinking. I think my favorite one to do is Ty from Dragon Ball Super. So he's easiest, in a lot of ways. His personality is big, and so it fits me pretty good. So that's the one I'm most comfortable doing. And then of course all his lines are good. Justice Flash, he names everything, and he has his own poses, so they're in you but at the same time they're very much different. It's all about pride, and then of course God knows me before the business, and it's just all a guy, So those are cool. And I think, but then the character I'm most proud of in his voice and all is King Leonhardt, the second because there was a lot that went into that. So he has some great lines too.
I have a career.
Sorry, go ahead. Was Emmy playing? Yeah, she was so good.
Yeah,
She sent us so fragile.
Right. And I tell people, I said, when you see the picture of King Leonhardt carrying her, that's our size difference in real life. We're talking about, she's a tiny little woman. And so we kept saying that one day we got a cosplay for these characters. So I'll just carry her around and she'll be in the sacrificial outfit and I'll be the king.
But if you talk to her in real life, she's got a lot of fortitude. She's very strongly spoken. But when I heard her the first time on the show, it was so.
Yeah. Very meek and humble. And it was a cool character. So,
Oh, that's okay. Gohan is who I voiced the longest, literally, so 24 years. I have a career thanks to just Chris Abbott hiring me and Akira Toriyama for creating it in the first place.
Right.
Very grateful for that. But in recent years, a piece of dialogue I love is just simply 2 words from My Hero Academia. Booty incoming! Now ladies like giant. Booty incoming.
Let's go fan base. And what's your best interaction you've ever had with a fan?
A lot of humps.
Yeah, so different. I mean, there was one in last year, and it was this girl that she was pretty young, in her early 20s, and she lost her father, died before. So, always sucks to lose your parents, but when you're still developing and you're young, she lost her dad young, and she was up here at my table just crying, talking about how they used to watch Dragon Ball together, and how much, the characters meant to them, and now doubly more so because she's holding on to whatever memory she has. Now she watches the show to find her father because I'm still there. It's just humbling to be any kind of small part of something that means that much to someone. So that was really sweet.
I'd say the same. If you have any character that meant something to someone, and every now and then, I think we all run into that every now and then. It's like, okay, and you realize that it means a little more than you think it does to do this. So yeah, it's very humbling to know that you're such an impactful part of people's lives. And there are some characters that we get to play, and it's like sometimes they'll walk up and be like, I relate to that character. Like I understand that character. And that character kind of got me through a hard time or something like that. Because I can say the same thing about some of the characters that I love growing up. So yeah, those are more touching moments that mean the most.
Entertainment is therapy, honestly. It's not just a way to pass the time. It can be a distraction or a coping mechanism. It can help inspire you. It can help you through a dark time. I've heard through the years that my role of Kamina in Gurulaga helped a lot of people because he's a very inspirational character. People that were really on the cusp of very bad endings came around, and they've come through my line and some various cons to say thank you so much for really turning around. And I like to think that I'm just a small piece of the pie. There's the writers, there's the animators, the directors, everybody that works on the production side to create this great art form, to get out there and transform all of our lives, whether it's like, oh man, I'm so stressed out, I need to watch a show, I need to play a game, I need to decompress, and it's great to go in and make a living doing something I love and please the director and have fun and all that, but then it's out there in the world, and either on social media or at conventions, people come and share their stories with us. That's impactful, that's powerful. That's more than any paycheck,
And it touches us sometimes too. I've seen Chris cry on some of the stuff he's done for all night. You know what I'm saying? So, some of these characters, they kind of grab us by the heartstrings too from time to time because of what they mean, and then they kind of hit you a certain way. And it's like, yeah, I totally get that. I get that premise. You almost wish it was in real life. Like, this is real. It would be so cool. So yeah, some of that's really good.
Did you get beat up by families?
Yeah, but I was sleeping.
Interaction. Yeah.
No, I mean, for me, it's just like, you go in the studio, you have fun doing your part or whatever, and then it's kind of out there in the world, like you were saying. To meet people who have actually enjoyed the parts you play is great. You don't get feedback afterwards. You're like, whoa, okay, well, craziest thing for me was, I never really heard anything about this one song that I thought that I did until like 2 years ago. And I'd be at a convention, I just happened to have a shot. Now they have Funko, which is cool. But somebody walk up to me that's 30-something or whatever and say, hey, I had that VHS, I watched it every day when I was a little kid. I'm like, really? Okay. It was a good show. But to know that, like the same kind of thing that when I was a little kid watching different shows, that somebody else enjoyed watching something that I did the same way. It was really cool.
We got time for one more question. Who wants to be the final one?
For your families, what's it been like just over time, you doing your different characters, them seeing and hearing about it? Have you seen what it's been like for them on the other side? There's that what you're working with.
For my wife, I'm always doing characters anyway. Just like all the time, it's like we'll go out with a new couple or somebody that she's met or whatever, and I'll start saying some ridiculous stuff, but I know I'm not, serious about it. And I'll look at her and she'll go, and I'll just start laughing, but I'll say, she'll say, he's not just banana. She says, when I met him, I was this tall. He's slowly going.
Yeah, I think she said that when I
my parents and my wife have always been very supportive and very appreciative and cheerleading from the side. They're very proud, and that feels awesome. It's not their cup of tea though, which is fine. It's like, but they love seeing me, my eyes light up and being passionate about having a great weekend at a con or the project I'm working on and all that. And it's like, it's not my world, but I'm glad it makes you happy. And that means a lot to have a support system like that, whether it's family, friends, significant others. Feels great.
I had, well, for the longest, I was working in my office, which was kind of like a dungeon for a little while, during quiet all. I felt they would, my wife would hear me in there working. Well, it sounded like, if you're listening to it on the outside, it sounds like we're just goofing around, it's not really real. So she's hearing me play back there, and I'm just saying it from their vantage point. My kids, the same thing, and they're like, what's Dad actually doing? 'Cause I had to figure out what to do from home at the time in order to be able to generate money. And so I started, we went back to my radio roots and then started doing this stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. My story, but they, to keep it short, they're listening to me. And it got so crazy that even my own relatives were like talking to my wife, and they're like, is he actually working or doing anything? And so it was like, it got really crazy. And so they're thinking I'm just, just not doing anything serious and just on this microphone in this room. And I'm like, no, I'm working with, like I'm losing my mind or something. I'm like, I'm working with people, I'm working with clients. Just because they don't come to the door and go sit down in my office doesn't mean it's not real.
Well, they can't hear what's on the headphones.
Yeah, right, they can't hear it. So they just hear me, and I'm like, doing all this stuff. And I'm like, next time, we'll figure this out. And so it just sounds like I'm goofing around. And so finally, after so long, especially it was around the time I did, it was maybe a year after I did Top. And then their friends started asking them questions, like they find out that it's like, oh, well, hey, is your dad that guy the Dragon Ball thing? Or it's like, hey, is that your cousin that does this and that? Or, and all of a sudden you become a celebrity. Then they want to own you. Oh yeah, that's my dad. Yeah, that's my cousin, that's my brother, and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden now you're somebody. And so that kind of stuff was just funny to me. It was strange and funny at the same time. But yeah, and then they realized, no, you're not just moving around. You've been doing stuff for a long time. It just takes a little while for it to cultivate and come out. And the bigger the project, the more people know, and then they start to like you. So, yeah.
My family's all dead to me, so I don't care. No. Kind of the same as like Kyle's. They're all very supportive, but none of them are into anime, let alone anything really nerdy at all. They're not. It's not their passion. But some of my nieces, and nephews, once they start hearing about the anime stuff, I'm kind of excited.
Hero.
Yeah, or not as dorky anyway. I actually was in LA for a premiere. Anybody watch Spy Family? So they did a movie a few months ago, and I was one of the bad guys in that. And so they actually sent some of us out there for a premiere in LA for it. So at the premiere event, I took my sister. I was going to take my niece who likes Spy Family, but she was actually nervous. So I would be too much. I said, no, she's going to go. There's a red carpet. There's no pressure. Gave her anxiety, so took her mom instead. But there was this girl there who just came with her mom as a fan. And she was gushing over me like I was a big deal, And she is an actress, and she's in LA. She's like, on the Disney Channel, they're doing something where it's like all the villains and heroes when they were younger. Yeah, she plays like Ursula. I'm like, girl, you're getting Disney work. 19. You're killing it. But she loved anime, so it's become her. So it's funny that reversal.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for your time. We're going to get them back to their table.
All right.
Come by and see us.
Yeah, y'all come by and see us. Oh, sure.